All right. Welcome to the Why Dad podcast. We are your hosts, Paul Wandrey and Andrew Stolpestad, and we are on a mission to get the entire world listening to us talk endlessly.
It's a great mission.
Just kidding. Yes. Well, we love the sound. I love the sound of my voice, so. Okay. No, we are on a mission to figure out what it means, a man, husband, and why that matters. We are on a mission to figure out what it means to be a man, husband, father, why it matters, and how to be not just, the best that we can be, but to be what we are striving to be, what we are called to be.
Exactly.
And today, we have a very relevant topic, especially to our aspiring dads, but even to current dads, a chance to reflect. And that topic is, should you have kids? Which could be controversial, but we're not addressing this to people who are we're not trying to convince anybody who don't want to have kids, that they should have kids. That's not the point.
Right.
But just to reflect, okay, hey, if you're single or if you're a young couple and you're considering having kids, or you had considered kids but now you're not so sure, then this is for you. We're going to talk about the common concerns, what we struggle with. We'll share some of my reflections because I don't know that I considered all of this beforehand. So as a kind of afterthought, I'll share my reflections, and hopefully will help you pull that thread of thinking, because I think that if we don't think about it, if we don't talk about it, we're doing ourselves a disservice, and we're either, we're making a decision by not thinking about it. If that makes sense. So anyway, that's today's topic.
The philosopher in me has to come out for a second before we move on.
Bring it.
I don't know if it should be construed as a should you, but more like a why or why not. Because when you pose it like should I, you're kind of imposing already some type of ethical duty or whatnot to the question. So I just had to say that.
No. I'm glad you said that. Not as the philosopher, but as the serial self-improver. I also take umbrage with the word should. Hey, girlfriend. Hi.
Is that my Evie?
It is.
Evie! This is a reason why.
You want to say hi to Umba?
Hi. Hey. She can't hear me, though. Hey, sweetie. How you doing? Can you hear me?
It's music.
You hear music?
It's music.
Is that you, Andrew? Are you playing music?
No, that's you.
That's funny. Yep, Spotify started. That's funny. All right.
It's music. Is it still music, or can you hear me? Happy New Year to you. When am I gonna see you next?
I don't know.
Should it be soon? Should I come hang out with you and Daddy? Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you.
Oh, now, Paul, I can't.
Can you hear him now?
Yes.
You can't hear him.
Okay, now I can hear.
Okay, weird.
Can you hear me, Evie?
Yes. You're talking really loud in here.
You're talking really loud in here. Should we should you, Liam, Daddy, and me do a fun trip? Not camping.
Camping?
But I do like camping. It's cold for camping. Do you like camping?
Yes.
Good.
I like marshmallows and s'mores.
Those are my favorite. Yeah, yum.
Mom's calling you.
Bah, bah, bah. All right, go eat your supper. I love you too. I love you too.
Yes, it's fine.
I love you too.
I need those for my See him as soon as we can.
In a couple weeks. Hey, you can't hear me, but I can hear you.
He's saying hi.
Oh my gosh, he is getting big.
Time to go upstairs. Let's
No.
leave Daddy to record.
Hey, Evie, we have a date planned to see Andrew next month. Okay, we're gonna see him twice next month. Okay.
We can do sleepover?
No, but maybe we can convince him to sleep over here.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
I love Andrew.
And I love my Evie.
All right, and today's commercial break.
And that's why you And that's why kids.
Done.
Podcast
Episode
done.
Over. That's why you have kids, because they are a endless outpouring of love and joy and chaos and more. Anyway, yeah. So as I was saying, I'm glad you called that out, Andrew, because actually, the word should. I'm not a fan. I do try to keep that out of my vocabulary because it kind of even is like, oh, I should have taken the garbage out, or I should have responded this way, I should have responded that way, or I should do that, but it also kind of implies that it creates, to your point, like a sense of obligation and duty when maybe there doesn't need to be any. And
exactly.
And it puts pressure on yourself, undue pressure on yourself. You already have, personally, if you're like me, you already have undue pressure. You're already hard enough on yourself about what you want to do and achieve. You don't need to have extra shoulds. So it's not like, or have to is right up there. It's like, oh, I have to like take the kids to daycare. It's like, no, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do anything. Choose to do that because I choose to work so that I can bring money in to pay the bills and help provide for the family. And I choose to do that to give the kids an opportunity to develop socially and learn. So no, it's not a have to. I choose to do that. And anyway, that's a tangent. Words are important. So
They are.
I'm glad that you call that out. So no, it's not should one have kids. It's, why might you have kids? Or might you not have kids? And at the end of the day, it comes down to each individual. Like Andrew, as an aspiring dad, like, do you want to have kids? Do you choose to pursue having kids? So yeah, that's a important distinction. Thanks, Andrew.
I like wreaking havoc on your topics.
No, this is good. It's not havoc. It's good. It's immediate value, not should, but why. And that's so important, dude. Like, we're recording this shortly after the new year, right? And it's so easy to get caught up in like shiny resolutions, like, like I want a 6-pack, or I want to run a 6-minute mile, or I'm going to make $1 million this year, or whatever. But if that's not rooted in the why, like, and you don't have that clear for yourself, then what's the point? So
exactly.
So yeah, what's the point of having kids if you don't know your why?
I mean, it just comes down to the purpose episode of ours. I don't want to go too deep into that since we have a different topic, but it ties in.
Yeah, I think it does come down to your purpose. Whether you see that as something that you choose, like what is your purpose in life, or that you uncover, or if you see it as a calling, from God or a higher power, or just like what is most suitable for you as an individual, like in your skills and inclinations and all that. However you see it. That is important to define and recognize. So, let's go through a couple of the common concerns, and we can talk about it from my perspective as already having kids and planning to have more. And from yours as an aspiring dad, and just from what we see, what others experiencing. And then after that, we can dig a bit more into, the choice or calling of it and the why and all that. Okay. So, and then maybe we finish with why not to have kids? Like the the persistent, the everlasting mess that will persist in your house. Anyway.
I mean, being a podcast for dads, do we want to,
That was meant to be.
You gotta show both sides,
The number of poopy diapers you'll change.
Vomit in the middle of the night.
Yeah, the amount of human excrement that you'll find in your face, and crevices you didn't even know you had. Anyway, Okay. Most common concerns. I don't feel equipped to be a parent.
Anybody, or even any current parent?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like, no, I don't think you do. And I think you can spend years and years preparing and still not be ready, And it's kind of like, let's put it this way. If you waited to do anything till you're ready, like, you're not going to do anything. That's how you grow, right? By putting yourself in uncomfortable situations that you're forced to raise to. Now, that doesn't mean... Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, I don't know if this is on your list or not, but this ties into, I don't know if I could do that. It's like, you're never going to know until you do it. And once you reach that, you gain certain strengths to be able to power through it. You could share about, like, your story, because I know you were concerned about becoming a dad for a little bit there in some of our conversations.
Yeah.
And if you would be a good, am I going to be a good dad? Am I equipped to do this dad stuff? Honestly, like, we're not perfect. So that's why I said, like, is anyone really going to be equipped or prepared? But you're never going to know unless you become one.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's like getting a project at work, or starting a new job. Like, there's always going to be a learning curve. There's always going to be discomfort. There's always going to be nervousness. And if there isn't that, then there's no growth. There's no learning, So yeah, talking about my concerns, I remember especially really hoping Evie was going to be a girl, because I did not feel prepared to raise a boy. Mm-hmm. So, like, even more so than not feeling prepared to be a parent at all. It's like, I can, like, anybody can figure out the diapers and the feeding and all of that. It's the emotional stuff, like learning how to be emotionally regulated and teaching your kids to do the same and all that. That's the tricky part. But the reason why I felt ill-equipped to be a boy dad when we were pregnant with Evie, when Sarah was pregnant with Evie, was I don't think I was confident in my own masculinity. That sounds bad, but I didn't feel man enough,
Right. Yeah.
And I think that by the time Liam came around, do I feel am I perfectly prepared? No. But I think I learned through Evie that it's not about having it all figured out. It's not about being prepared. It's not about being the perfect parent, but it's about showing your kids, number one, love, unconditional love, and number two, that, it's not perfection. It's about fucking up and getting back up and trying again, saying you're sorry, repairing, and trying again and again and again, and trying to be better and do better. Actually, if you don't feel equipped to be a parent, that means you'll be a great parent because that's what it is at the end of the day. It's fucking up and trying again and doing better. And I think anybody can do that.
I think so too. I mean, yes, it's daunting. You have this. I mean, I remember the first time I held it. My first niece, all the kids, the first time I held Evie. And I mean, the first that always goes through my mind is if I step wrong, I can squish this baby. Or if I do something wrong, this thing in my hands is depending on me in this moment for its own survival. And then it gets me thinking about damn, if this was my own kid, it brings on a daunting feeling I'm so not ready for this to be my own. And I mean, I think my mom and my dad, with my older brother, they were the hospital's trusting us to go home with this thing.
Yeah.
We're so not ready for this. So I think it's, like you said, it's just, you're not going to know till that moment arrives. You're still not going to be ready, but you learn as you raise that child how to be that parent.
Here's the best argument for it. You don't have to be prepared. Humans have been popping out babies literally since the beginning of, since Adam and Eve. And humanity still exists.
Right.
We're going to survive. Your kids will survive. It's less.
You will survive.
You will survive. It's just about getting out of the way, more than anything. But yeah, so Andrew, you talked a little bit about your perspective as an uncle. But as you're considering, especially over the past year, as we've carried out this podcast, we're reaching the year point, actually. We've done a lot of talking and reflecting about fatherhood. Has any of it scared you away? Have you felt that, I don't feel equipped to be a parent? Or is it more like, first things first, got to find a wife, and then I'll worry about being a parent?
No, it's a little bit of both. I mean, it hasn't changed my mind, but I know that I'm in no way, shape, or form ready. And obviously, I have to find a wife first. I mean, if anything, it's only deepened my desire for that. And why I say that is, it increases your capacity to love and give. And, where do kids come from? From a complete and self-giving of love from the parents. And, then there's 9 months later, there's a baby, And it's something more that it's another person for you to love deeper and completely give yourself towards, because it's depending on you. I mean, you don't depend on that kid in any way, shape, or form. So it's just, you are giving all of yourself to that kid. And you can go into some theological or philosophical aspects of it, but just humanly, it's just, the desire to love and be loved, the fruits that are kids, and that only strengthens and deepens that desire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You've got me thinking, about the sense having kids. You said having kids increases your capacity to love and give, which it does. And I think having kids, building a family, it creates higher peaks and lower valleys. You experience joy and happiness and all of that to degrees you couldn't have fathomed before. But also you experience difficulty and challenges and hurdles and sometimes grief that you also wouldn't previously have fathomed. But I would argue that the greater peaks outweigh the greater valleys. And then this is kind of popping ahead to the why, but when Evie's eyes burst open with joy or wonder or excitement or whatever, is why would I not want that? And that's just a me thing. Why would I not want her as an individual to have that opportunity to experience the world? And actually, that's kind of an interesting point, because it brings us to the next big concern, and that's why bring another kid into this messed up world? That's kind of the flip side of that, because there's a lot of shit going on, and it's kind of scary. We don't know.
But there's always been shit going on.
Yeah, there has always been shit going on, and the future has always been unknown. But even so, just because that's the way it's always been, why persist it? Why what's the word? Submit our kids to all of the negativity of the world,
so they can experience the good.
Yeah, I think that's the heart of it. Is are you a fatalist?
Right.
Is everything in the world truly outweighed by the negative? Or is there the opportunity and the possibility of the good to win out?
Right. Well, they experience the good and they add to it.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. Adding to it, you give them the opportunity to make a difference. I do get that question, why bring another kid into this messed up world? But also, there are ways. It's not consider the world as this messed up world as an ocean. Right. It's not kid is born and you're throwing it out into the ocean. Okay, hope you can swim. It's there are things you can do to prepare your child in the tumultuous ocean of the world. You can keep him on your ship until he's ready to sail off on his own. You can teach him how to swim. You can build a beautiful, wonderful, and even peaceful life on the ship, And if you feel called to go out and try to calm the waves, then you can build a bigger, better ship or whatever. Like there are things you can do. You are not helpless. Your child is not helpless. It can feel overwhelming, especially if you're inundated by the news and social media every day.
Right.
I tend to be more of an ostrich with my head in the sand because I will not do well otherwise. That's not to say like I'm completely oblivious to what's going on in the world. It's just like I'm not at the point of like I don't have the mental, emotional, physical, financial capacity to do anything about it other than vote. And I will arm myself with knowledge to vote to the best of my ability. Other than that, I just gotta focus on what I can control.
Exactly. You know, about adding to the good too. I've taken my nieces and nephews out to restaurants for Uncle Day, so one we were out and the good guy next to us was just not having a good day. And you could kind of tell, and then his demeanor shifted a little, and after he finished his meal, he came over, he's like, "Your kids." I'm like, "Not my kids, but..." And he was like, "Well, your brother's kids." I was like, "We're so well-behaved, and then just having a good time, and, the smiles and the laughter, just, like, that really made my day today." And I needed that.
Yeah. That's so great to hear, and I mean that's a powerful point. Like not that we are like putting that responsibility on these kids of like fixing the world, but goodness, kindness is contagious, and you can make a positive difference even if you're not trying to. And I think that's a powerful lesson. And the more we bring that in, and the more dialogue and understanding and search for the truth and emotional regulation and all of that, and seeking to understand, not to cajole into being understood, that is how we're going to make a difference.
Yeah.
And so I was talking with a neighbor of mine who I used to swim with. He and his wife has 7 kids. I think like from high school age to a 1-year-old. One of the reasons he decided like to get married was he was in church one day and the pastor was like, "You want to make a difference? You want to change the world? You want to make a difference on the world? Go get married, have kids." And, regardless of your religious affiliations or lack thereof, I think that's very true. Like, the future of the world is in the hands of our young ones.
Right.
And if you raise your kids to be good and true and seek the truth, you will affect the world positively.
Yeah, there was a guy in Monticello. My buddy and I had just finished building a Corvette, and it broke down in front of his house, and he came walking out. He's like, "Roll it into the shed." And this guy had like all the equipment, and we were talking, and like the topic of family came up. And he's like, "Yeah, me and my wife, we couldn't have kids, and they tried going through adoption agencies and they couldn't, so they're like, well, let's try foster care," which, taking care of kids in the system is hellish. But that was like his whole motivation, was give these kids a shot at the good life, be a positive role model, helping them change their future, to give them a chance at something they otherwise wouldn't have, so that they can do good with the good they received.
Yeah, I really love that point, and that actually fits right into our next common concern, and that's like, what about all the kids who like already need homes or need those role models? And like, why it's kind of like the adopt a puppy versus buy a puppy, right? Different, but similar. It's like, why birth a kid if you can just adopt one? But the point being that there are options like that, adoption, foster care, or even like for myself, as I have my own kids. But what about like my nieces and nephews? Right. What about the friends of my kids? Andrew, do you remember that episode with Matt Edmondson, and how he had like fridge rights?
Oh yeah.
To encourage his kids' friends to come in any day, and he would have like deep philosophical, life-changing, like in the balance conversations with kids who weren't even his own.
Right.
Like that is inspiring, because the power of influence that you have doesn't have to be just on your kids.
Right.
And the example of the guy who helped you with the Corvette also, like, that's a great example. it reminds me of our recent topic about community too, where it's like if we try to navigate this world in a silo, it's going to be so much harder than if we
True.
lean on those around us, both for guidance and example and all that. But who's going to give that guidance and example?
Right.
And I think that's an opportunity for us as dads and aspiring dads and as uncles and as men, you know. Regardless of, I mean, we're kind of expanding beyond the topic du jour, but I think there is an opportunity to provide that example.
You ever watch the movie Instant Family? It's a Mark Wahlberg movie.
No,
And-
I haven't.
He and his wife do foster care, I think, to try to adopt or just take care of these kids to give them a good life, because they, they're dinks and they have a great life, and they finally come to the realization that they want to share this life with kids, and they didn't have any kids of their own. So, they go through all the struggles of foster care, and I watched the movie. I don't want to spoil it for you since you haven't seen it, but it follows along the same message, that there are other options out there, and especially, like, if you feel that's the way you need to go, like, it's an honorable path. There's, at the end of the day, it's, to me, it's, you may not be, you hear the phrase, like, you may not be their father, but you're their dad. Like, you may be, they're not your DNA, but to them, you're dad. You're that person, that man in their life that's been there for them. So, there's, if you want, if why kids, and that's something that you feel a need, not a need, but like a calling or a desire to do, then, you don't necessarily need to have kids of your own, or choose that, I should say.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, and that makes me think of a couple of examples in my life. My sister and her husband, they wanted badly to have kids. And they tried for several years, and it just wasn't in the cards for them. And they did consider adoption, and I don't know if they considered any other options, but ultimately what they felt called to do was just to lean in to being an aunt and uncle, and...
Yeah.
They are a stellar aunt and uncle, and they're
They
very
really are.
involved in my kids' lives, in my kids' cousins' lives, and we were just on a trip with them, and going on vacation with kids is a lot of work,
I can only imagine.
Which is funny because the next concern is I value freedom, travel, spontaneity, just freedom in general. But they were like, yes, bring the kids on this vacation. And they were there like hardcore playing with the kids, full on. They weren't just like, oh yeah, kids are there, like mom and dad got it, meet up with us when you care. They're like, no, like, hey, Abby, you want to go to the pool? Or like, let's go do this, let's go do that. Obviously, they took time for this themselves because that's one of the perks of being an uncle or an aunt.
Yep.
Is you can come get the cuddles and
You get to
step away.
choose.
Yes. But no, they are the opposite of hands off. And then some local friends of ours, they do have one kid, but they really wanted to have more. And again, years and years of trying to have more, and again, just was not possible. And so now they're leaning into, like, yes, being a mom and dad to their kid, but also kind of that same note, like showing up as aunt and uncle for their nephew. And also they're a stellar example of it takes a village. Parents of it, like, it takes a village. They're not like overbearing with other kids, but they're there, they're helping, they're loving, they're guiding.
Right.
And there's so many examples like that out there that I think we can take inspiration from.
Absolutely.
All right, so love, freedom. So, I mean, yeah, there are trade-offs, right?
There are. I had a conversation with one of my friends. He and his girlfriend were debating this whole topic, and one of the big things was, like, they like trips, they like adventures and whatnot. It's like, okay, so maybe a few years you don't do that, but it doesn't mean you give up that lifestyle, If you can afford that now, like in a few years, if you have one kid or two kids, then you can start to do those types of adventures with your kids and pass on that love for nature or traveling or culture like you obviously have and enjoy it on a different level.
Mm-hmm.
There's there's grandma and grandpa's house for if you do need a couple's getaway. So
yeah, I mean,
I understand it, like especially being a single guy, no kids, and being able to do what I want.
Yeah, you get to make your own schedule, and
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like having dogs too. It's like if you're going to go on a trip, you have to find a place to kennel them, and or find somebody to take care of them, and do you have the money for it, and added expense and whatever. But it's like the joy that dogs bring you, the companionship, the love that they bring you is totally worth it, right? And there are those who don't think it is worth it, and they don't do it, and that's fine. But yeah, there's a phrase that comes to mind. It's like you can have it all, just not all at once. I don't know who said that, but it's kind of like that, and kind of like you were alluding to, is like there are chapters in your life, and yeah, sure, like the first few years of having kids might be a little bit more sleepless, it might be a little bit more chaotic and whatever. But whatever your priority is, whether that's traveling or fitness or gaming or whatever, like if you value it and it's a priority for you, you will still be able to carve out time for it.
Yeah.
Solitude, like if you need solitude.
Instead of doing like 3 trips a year like you're used to, you do one bigger one with your, I think that phrase like sums it up perfectly. Like your life obviously is going to change for the rest of your life once you have a child.
Yeah. And I mean, like, and it all comes down to like what you value. I was talking with somebody recently, and for Sarah and me and our family, travel is a priority. And we saved up for big trips.
Right.
And that included a trip to Greece and a trip, recently to Jamaica. And that was not cheap. But we saved it. We saved for it. And these were not in back-to-back years either. But we saved for it, and it was a top budget priority for both of those years for us. And that's where we're spending our extra money. Where like other families, like the person I was speaking with, like they bought their kids snowmobiles,
Yeah.
They're not. It's not like they're rolling in dough either, right? It's like they got a bonus check, and that's what they decided to use it on. It's like that's where their values are. And even money aside, and saving aside, like, you can still go on trips. Like you can go on road trips for if travel is important to you for very decent prices. You can go on camping trips. You can. So there is a way.
Yeah. No, that's one. Austin and Lindsay are my younger brother and sister-in-law. They're trying really. They want to have kids so badly, and they've been trying since they got married. And before my brother deployed to the Middle East, we did a trip to the San Juan National Forest up in the mountains. It's only like a 5-hour drive from his house, but it's gorgeous. And he was just talking to me about how he can't wait to have kids and bring them to places like this. And have them experience share the things he loves and loves to do with his kids, or maybe they don't enjoy it, but just enrich them with that type of lifestyle, to be open to all these types of things that he and his wife are interested in. He gets funny when he starts talking. He's like, "Oh, we're gonna be such fun parents. We're gonna be going to Colorado. We're gonna keep going to New Mexico, and then in the summertime we'll be visiting you in Minnesota, and we'll do fishing and all these things." And I'm just like,
I love that.
So,
I love that.
Like all those things, they are priorities, and they've already started before having kids, like saving up for that type of stuff for when they do have kids. Like, you just I said, you just got to pick and choose what's your priorities and bigger priorities.
Absolutely. The last one, and maybe the biggest one is what if I screw them up? And something I heard on another dad podcast, the Dad Edge podcast, we had Larry on. last week, and something he said that has always stuck with me is like, we're all going to fuck up our kids. It's just a matter of how bad. And I don't know if he said this part or if it was just a thought of mine. It's like, you're going to fuck them up. It's just of how bad, and will you give them the tools to deal with that or not?
Right.
Or will you help them develop the tools to deal with it? Because everybody, I mean, it's part of being human. We're all going to have a shit to deal with. But do we know how to handle it and get through it and, become the people that we want to become in spite of it? And at times because of it. So yeah, like, you will screw them up a little.
Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. And I mean, I totally get that. Like, that's my fear every day. But honestly, being worried about that already makes you a good parent.
It's a good thing.
Yeah. The fact that you're thinking about it. If you weren't thinking about it, I'd be worried. I'd be like, yeah, don't have kids. Like, they'll be alright. They'll be fine. They'll be alright. Here's the deal, though.
What?
When we were expecting Evie, I did a post. I was like, hey guys, like, I don't know how to do this. Like, what's some advice, to be a dad, to be a good dad, and to be, like, the best that I can be? And somebody replied, love, just love. And at the end of the day, they're right. But also, it begs the question, is love enough? And if you're equating love with just, like, desire.
The emotion.
Yeah, the emotion, or like, I want to love. I want to be there for my kid. Like, that's not going to be love. It's not enough to want it.
You got to put it in practice.
You got to put it in practice, and you got to be intentional. You got to assess, adapt, apply. You got to, like, review, like, hey, I fucked up here. What could I have done differently? And then do differently, So it's okay to, and it's normal and natural and probably a good thing to worry about that. Like, what if you screw them up? What if I screw them up? And you do just got to love them, but love them intentionally.
Yeah.
And follow podcasts. And that's how you not screw them up as much.
As much.
Yeah, as much.
Keywords there.
So, Andrew, what about your perspective? And then we'll go on to some of the whys. I think this kind of parallels to not feeling equipped. Is that something that you worry about? It's like, yeah, man, like, I've got enough shit to deal with. Like, what if I pass on my shit, like...
Remotely. I mean, it's not... Since I'm not at that point of expecting a child...
Yeah.
It's not there. I mean, I think about it. Like, right now, am I even going to get to the point to where I have to worry about that? Yeah. There's one step at a time sort of deal. I get that. And at the end of the day, it goes back to what we talked about in that first point it's not about being perfect. It's not about raising the perfect kid. It's about showing them what it's like to navigate a messy life and to try to do better every day. I have it in the sense of, am I being a good uncle, but not...
Yeah, let's talk about that. Are you a good uncle? Like, or like, what are your concerns about, like, if you have concerns, like, what, around your...
It parallels, the same concerns as being a dad. Like, am I, and I've said this thousands of times, and if my uncles are listening, some of them might be, it's like, I love spending time with my uncles. Like, they're the funnest dudes in the world. And they're the most generous, selfless, like, just all around great guys. And so it's like, oof, am I going to be able to keep doing that 30 years, with my 36-year-old nieces and nephews? Because I want to be, but, like, or am I going to be like Uncle Andrew's coming over? Boring. Or, I want to be the guy, someone that they can come to. Like we talked with Matt, that someone that outside of their parents that they can come and talk to just about anything and everything if they want or need it.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's so important to have those examples, those role models to kind of aspire to be like, because otherwise, like, how do you know where you're going? And so this is great. I think we covered several different common concerns of like why one might be skeptical of being a parent or what they worry about. And I think it is good to reflect on those things. If we missed one, let us know.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the why. So Andrew, what you got? Why do you want to be
My
dad?
whys. I just wanna.
You couldn't.
I just wanna love and be loved, and love with everything I have. That's what I feel my purpose is to give myself in love and to love. It goes back to the human desire of wanting to be loved. But, that's what I just feel my purpose as right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, that's as good a reason as any. Don't know that I had a very different why. Or if you had asked me before I had Evie, if I would have given you a very different answer. I think it's just like, yeah, this is what you do, you know? You have kids.
You get married.
We're going to have kids.
Yeah.
We want to have kids, you know? And I think it was a vision we had for ourselves. We envisioned ourselves with little kids running around. And
Right.
I think the joy that comes with.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of it was growing up in a loving family. We had our share of shit. Every family does.
Right.
But the relationships, the connection, the love, all of that, you know, I wanted more of that.
Exactly.
To your point of wanting to love and be loved. So I think it comes down to that. Here's something that I've uncovered along the way. And it's not like it's a unique revelation or anything, but my life, a little Borat reference for you. Twist. Anyway,
Very nice.
very nice. My life has the quality of my life has a direct correlation with the quality of my relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And by having kids, that quality has skyrocketed. The connection that I have had and can continue to build and foster with Evie and Liam and any future siblings brings so much joy and fulfillment. And then on top of that, the connections and relationships that they have with their grandparents and their aunts and uncles and their cousins and their friends.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing to behold.
It is.
So that's one, the relationships, the connection, the love. Two is their individuality, the opportunity to exist.
Right.
I don't know, that's profound in a sense, but it's also
Simple,
not
yet profound.
Yes, you have all the shit of the world to deal with, but also there's just so much joy and goodness, and if they didn't exist, they wouldn't be able to experience that.
Right. That was my point. They get to experience that good of the world, and then they get to add to it. That's what I was trying to get to.
And the experience of, experiencing what it's like to add to the goodness and, how good that makes you feel and how fulfilling it is and the influence that you have on those around you.
Right.
That's amazing. And just, the ability to know, to know truths about life, about humanity, about the world, about existence, about yourself. We're
Right.
getting philosophical here.
But it's true.
I mean, that's one of the things, irrationality, right? That sets us apart from other life is that ability to know. And that is, I don't know, that excites me. And lastly, for myself, is as we consider having more kids, it's both of those things. And it's the uniqueness of the path in the individual, the path that they choose and the individual that they choose to become and forge. The potential there is limitless, A lot of it is yes, as parents, we try to guide, we try to provide, and we try to coach and set boundaries. But a lot of it is also just getting the F out of the way.
Yep.
And just let them explore and become, and all of that. So those are my whys. Of most of them, I refined after already being a
Well, you should.
parent.
I don't think you can. I mean, you can have like again, you can have like the generals of whys, and then once that moment comes, then like with you, like it gets refined. Like, okay, now I am a parent. Why am I a parent? It changes. Why do I still want to be a parent instead of going to get the milk and never coming back?
Yes.
So.
And I think these are, we covered a lot of good stuff. We covered common concerns. I think.
And there's gonna be more, but we took the most obvious ones.
Yeah. Yes. And I think anybody who is considering being a parent, like who's on the fence about being a parent, or who's considered it previously but now feels less strongly about it, or who's already a parent, like these are concerns that will rear their heads over and over again. And that's okay, and that's normal. I think the important thing and the takeaway here is to not ignore them. Think about it.
Exactly.
Consider it. Prepare for it. Recognize that, just focus on what you can control.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so we talked about the concerns, and then we talked about a few whys. Our whys, if you don't know your why, think about it.
Yeah. It's... think about it with the same intensity as you think about your purpose on life, because it's another human life that you're going to be dealing with, and it deserves that same intensity as you would think about your own.
Yeah. And that's a great point. And if this is something that you're struggling with, like, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Like, drop us a message or share this episode with someone else asking the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'd love to hear from you. And what other concerns are there? What are your whys? And I think that's our episode.
I think, yeah.
There's so many more threads we can pull, but I think we covered what we wanted to.
I think so too. And like you said, it's just important to take those to your weekly or daily reflection time, your whys. Think about those. It all ties in.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what you want, if that's what you've discovered your purpose to be, or something you want to be.
Yeah. I think that's the most powerful thing. One of the most powerful things that we can do as individuals is reflect, right? Like, consider our whys and our why nots and what we choose to do with that. Because otherwise we're just, subscribing to the rat race.
Yeah.
So don't be a rat. Go consider this shit. All right. And with that, we'll wrap it up. Andrew, thank you for another great episode.
Thank you.
As I perceive it. And dad and aspiring dad listening to this episode, let us know what you think.
Please do.
Share this episode with somebody you think would enjoy it or thinking about the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And tune in next week where we will be talking about more dad shit. So anyway, thanks, Andrew.
Stuff.
Love you guys.
All right. Thank you, Paul, and thank you all.
Peace.
Peace.